Hello everyone, it's that teacher here, and today's lesson is going to be on multiplication, level 3. Let's start learning. Let's begin our lesson on multiplication, level 3. So just a quick definition of multiplication. Multiplication in mathematics is one of the fundamental operations alongside addition, subtraction, and division, where it entails repeatedly adding groups of equal sizes. So before we start the lesson, I thought I'd give you an interesting did you know fact about multiplication. Did you know that the ancient Babylonians were probably the first culture to create multiplication tables, so times tables, more than 4,000 years ago? That's pretty interesting, I think. Let's begin the lesson. So just a quick refresh, you need to know your times tables. It's super important to practice your times tables. I always say if you're not great at your 9 times tables, practice them. If you're really good at 10s, don't spend so much time practicing your 10s, okay? So just a quick refresher, if you're not sure, there's multiple ways to do it. The longest, oldest method is just writing it down, practicing one by one. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And you just keep practicing over and over again. It's whenever you get a little bit of spare time, and over the time, you will slowly become better at it. The second thing is finding cool online resources such as timestables.com, and you can really target your weaknesses in that area, whatever you're weak at. If you're weak at 9s, 11s, 12s, the higher numbers are usually more difficult. You can target this specifically, playing cool games, things like that. I've only recently discovered it, but I thought it was really cool. Let's get on with the lesson. So, now, 3-digit multiplication. This is the 3rd level of our multiplication series. Now, this is the same process but with one extra little step. So we're going to go through it step by step now. To begin, we start with the 2 in the 1s column. Now, 2 times 3, that is 6. Move on. 2 times 5 is 10. Put the 1 above the 4 in the hundreds column. Now 2 times 8, 2 times 4, that is 8. Plussing the 1, that is 9. Now, before you move to the next digit in the tens column, which would be the 3, I highly recommend rubbing out any working out. With this new 3-digit multiplication, it's going to become really difficult. If you have multiple numbers there, it's going to be messy, and your answer is going to become unclear. So what you need to do is rub out that working out. And when you're doing the working out, just do it lightly, okay? Now we're starting with that 3 in the tens column. The first thing we need to do is the magic 0, as I've mentioned previously. If you don't add the magic 0, because it's in the tens column, you need to add that 0, because 10, 1, 0, it's worth more. It's not in the ones column. So adding the 0 is super important. Let's move on. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 5 is 15, you put the 5 below, and the 1 goes above the 4. And finally, 3 times 4 is 12, plus that 1 is 13, so 13. With 3-digit multiplication, you need to do this one more step. So, when you get to the hundreds column, that 1, first thing, of course, rub out the working out. Like I just got rid of that 1, you need to do the same. So, when you're multiplying 3-digit numbers, you need to add 2 zeros once you get to the hundreds column, because 100 has 2 zeros. You need to think of it like that. Hundreds column, every number that you multiply is worth 100. So you need to add those 2 zeros beforehand. And then you just follow the same process. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. Now, as always, I've already started here, but as always, you need to add these 3 numbers up. Just go systematically down the place values. If they go over 10, don't forget to carry over the little 1, or cross the number, rewrite it to the next number above it. For example, if it's 5 and you're adding the 1, cross it, make it a 6. So let's add this up. So 6 plus 0 plus 0, well that's 6. 0 plus 9 plus 0 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 3 is 17. So doing it slowly, taking your time, is crucial here. Now, we've gone above 10, so we put the 1 there. 3 plus 5 is 8, plussing that 1 is 9. And finally, 1 plus 4 is 5. So the answer is 59,796. So I'm going to show you the process with a larger number because 453 and 132 are smaller numbers, but This question, I'm gonna model it again, but with a larger number. So you can see the table's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more difficult. So let's move on. With your larger numbers, exact same process. 8 times 3 is 24. 4 goes below, 2 goes above that 6. Now, 8 times 6. Think of it. If you're not sure, go through 6 times tables. That answer is going to be 48. However, we need to add that 2. So 48 plus 2 is 50. So the 0 goes in the answer box and the 5 goes above that 5. 8 times 5 is 40 plus the 5 is 45. Now, when you're multiplying larger 3-digit numbers, that rubbing out answers, the working out that you've done is extremely important. That tip I gave you. So look, rub out those numbers. So when you go to the next set of numbers, it's super easy and you don't make any mistakes or use numbers you've previously worked out in the other numbers. So rub out that working out. That's super important. Now, you're in the tens column. First thing you need to do, tens column, next set of numbers, magic 0, of course, always, okay? Now, 9 times 3 is 27. You put the 7 below and the 2 goes above the 6. Now 9 times 6 is 54, plus that 2 is 56. The 6 goes below and the 5 goes above. 9 times 5 is 45, plus that 5 would be 50. Now if there's no more numbers, that's it. So like I said, rub out any working out when you go into the hundreds column because it will save confusion, it will save you making little mistakes, and it's just the way to do it, okay? It's the best tip I can give you to solve these numbers because it's quite a lengthy process, but we need to just hammer it like that. So we're in the hundreds column. 100 has 2 zeros. First thing you need to add 2 magic zeros. You already know that from our last example. So 2 magic zeros, then follow the process. 3 times 3, that's 9. 3 times 6, that would be 18. Putting the 1 above the 5, and 3 times 5 is 15. Plus that 1 is 16. So you can see it's quite a large number, but following the methods and sequences that I've given you, you can't go wrong, okay? Now, we need to add these 3 numbers. So 4 plus 0 and 0, that's 4. 0 plus 7 plus 0, that's already 7. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 9 is 20. So here's a little trick here. It's actually gone to 20. So you put the 0 below, but instead of adding 1 little marker, we're in the 2. So 2 in the tens column, we have to actually add 2 here. So you can see that little 2 I put here. That's just a little trick with large multiplication numbers. Sometimes it might actually equal above 20. That's how you solve that. 4 plus 0 plus 8 is 12, plus that 2 is 14. And finally, we need to add the 1 from the 14 above. 5 plus 6 is 11. Plus that 1 is 12. And finally, we went above 10 again. Give the 1 to the 1 there. 1 plus nothing is 1, but we need to add that 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So hopefully I've broken it down enough for you, guided you through that. Now, what I want you to do is practice yourself. So I've written you some questions here. My answer slide is just going to have the answers, but I want you to work it out exactly how I did. If you're not sure, rewind, do what you got to do, and follow how I did it in my examples before, and on your piece of paper, you do the same things, and hopefully you get the answers. So these are the questions for you: 492 times 327, and 748 times 598. If you can get that second question, that's a massive number. You have handled this multiplication level 3. You've aced it. This would probably be, I think, year 5 or 6 content. So maybe ages 9 to 11 or 9 to 12, something like that. So if you're there, well done. Okay, so let's go. Answers here. Now, as you can see, the first question is 160,884. And finally, the last numbers are quite a large number, 447,304. So thank you for coming to this lesson, multiplication level 3. If you've enjoyed the lesson, please share it, especially if you're at a school. Share it to your friends at school. Subscribe, support the channel. I'll keep this content coming. It's That Teacher. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next lesson.